I want to bring in newly elected Democratic Senator from California, Adam Schiff. As a congressman, Adam Schiff, we know you led the first impeachment inquiry into President Trump, and you were a member of the January 6th committee. And recently, Senator, you have said that you felt some shame about American policy towards Ukraine. And I'm not sure if you were able to just hear our last segment there, but there's some reporting now from ABC that it sounds like it's possible a minerals deal could actually be signed between the United States and Ukraine even before this joint address tonight. Do you have a reaction to that?
Well, first of all, I think the administration's policy towards Ukraine has been shameful. We have betrayed an important U.S. ally, one that has been fighting for 3 years against our Russian adversary, one that has lost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, killed and wounded in that fight. And we have completely undercut Ukraine's position as it may go into a negotiation with the Kremlin. There was cheering in Moscow for good reason. But in terms of American national security interest, to betray our European and NATO allies, to betray Ukraine, I think was a shameful chapter of American history. In terms of the minerals deal, I only hope that Zelensky is getting something out of it because it has the character of a shakedown. We're insisting on some percentage of the mineral worth of Ukraine. And up till at least now, there has been no guarantee of Ukraine's security or sovereignty or a return of its territory. So I'm not sure what Ukraine is getting out of this, except giving in to this kind of extortionary diplomacy, if you'll call it that, which I think is to be charitable. So I'm very concerned. And now maybe this is a superficial thing where he's giving away nothing and essentially getting nothing except for an opportunity to try to mend relations with Donald Trump. But this shouldn't be about Donald Trump's ego. It should be about our ally, our NATO alliance, our leadership in the world, and standing up to dictators like Putin.
Well, Senator Schiff, there are some colleagues of yours, former colleagues on Capitol Hill, who even supported funding Ukraine in the past, who feel like there wasn't a real return on investment, and they wonder if they should have voted that way. So do you feel like perhaps his negotiating tactics will lead to a return on investment for the American people?
See, I disagree with that whole logic that we haven't had a return on our investment. First of all, supporting a fellow democracy, supporting our allies in Europe, supporting the principle that you don't remake the map in Europe using military force. There's a lot of return on our investment for that in our own security. I'm not looking for a payoff. I'm not looking to use U.S. military might for a payoff. So I disagree with the whole premise. I think what we're really seeing from some of the Republicans who are going along with President Trump and caving to the Kremlin is a reorientation of the Republican Party away from Ronald Reagan, away from standing up to the evil empire, and instead a desire to make close relations with fellow dictatorships around the world in a kind of might makes right way. This is antithetical to what the U.S. has stood for ever since World War II and beyond that. So I disagree with the premise. I think they're merely capitulating to the whims of this president and really destroying our standing around the globe and betraying this legacy we've inherited from our founders.
Well, we know also there are the fair share of American people who believe in peace through strength and who do support the steps of this president. We know that as he prepares for his first joint session of Congress, Senator, kitchen table issues likely are going to be top of mind for the Americans that are watching. And in light of the tariffs here and the concerns of rising grocery prices, things like that, I know you were just out here in California. Did you hear anything from your constituents about that?
Well, yes. I mean, they are very unhappy about the fact that prices keep going up and up and up. And with these new tariffs, they're going to go up even further. People are already spending 25% more for eggs. They're spending more for lumber if they need to rebuild their home. They're spending more on practically everything. And now with these tariffs, the cost of a new automobile is going to go up by thousands. Average American families can expect that these Trump tariffs are going to cost them about $2,000 annually. So considering the president ran on a platform of bringing down costs, he seems to be doing exactly the opposite. One final point I want to make, you made mention of peace through strength. I don't know how we're displaying strength when going into a negotiation over a potential peace agreement, we are showing weakness. We are undermining Ukraine. That's not peace through strength. That's capitulation to the Kremlin. So I think that expression certainly doesn't fit whatever President Trump is doing on this.
And also noting as well that we did hear from the United Auto Workers Union, who is in full support here of the president's tariffs as they move forward. Although we are hearing from, the CEO of Target, who's very concerned about rising grocery prices just in the coming days. I do quickly want to ask you about.
I just want to mention too. I've been talking to farmers in California, and I think the same is true for farmers around the country. Many of them still haven't recovered the market share from 5 or 6 years ago, the first time Trump imposed tariffs. This is the last thing they want to see.
And it sounds like we have more tariffs coming their way in April. But I will also share with you, Senator, that I spoke with farmers in the Central Valley also who say they fully support this and that they believe that there is a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain, and that that's something that folks in the ag industry are prepared for and in full support of.
Honestly, I think whoever you spoke with is very much an outlier. I haven't heard that from any farmers that they're excited about these tariffs. Quite the contrary. I was meeting with citrus growers just a couple of weeks ago in the Central Valley, and they were telling me that citrus is grown all over the world. And when we impose tariffs, we lose market share that we simply don't get back. So whether it's farmers or ranchers, it's pretty universal. Certainly the people I've talked to who think this is going to be damaging and destructive. And in terms of Americans going to the grocery store, it is inevitably going to increase the price of groceries. I think there's no two ways about that. So people need to get ready to pay more when they go shop for their family.
Yeah, and I'll read you a direct quote here from the dairy farmer I spoke with. He said, I have to imagine there's going to be some amount of pain to make things better for the long term. And people that don't understand that don't really understand what it's like to run a business. So, what I would love, Senator, is for sometime you and I to spend some time together speaking with farmers in the Central Valley. I feel like that would be really interesting and get a real broad scope of how things are looking out there.
Oh, I would welcome that. I think you'll hear overwhelming opinion to the contrary of the gentleman you spoke with.
All right. Senator Schiff, I hope you'll come back on. Thank you always for being on the show. We're out of LA, so it's wonderful to have you on.
Great to be with you.